There will be a short delay of flight.
Welcome to another edition of Coffee and Beats. Welcome to season 8 of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent, back with another episode, and it feels good to be back for season 8. And around this time in January is usually a slow month as far as new releases goes, and a lot of people are still on vacation. A lot of musicians are still on vacation, enjoying their breaks. But by the time February hits, that's when the new music starts popping up, or around the midpoint of January into February, you start getting some new releases. And so once I'm done with Classic Month, which is January, where I'll be reviewing classic albums, and then I'll get to a lot of the newer releases. But right now, we are in Classic Month. In these episodes that I'm going to be dropping, I'm going to be going back. I'm going to go into the time machine and revisit some old classics and some albums that I feel were ignored and might not get talked about much in certain artists' discography, or just bona fide classics. So I got a nice lineup coming up, so stay tuned. But first, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow if you're on Instagram, whatever. Share this with a loved one, because I'm sure that they will all love to hear these classic reviews. And the first classic album, in my opinion, is a classic album up to bat, is none other than Yasiin Bey, aka Mos Def's fourth studio album, Ecstatic. And I am very excited to do a classic review of this album. If you are not familiar with Mos Def, Black on Both Sides is his bona fide classic. And so if you have never heard any music from Mos Def, if you're watching, a lot of you young ones watching this episode, go back to that album and come back to this episode and you'll understand why Ecstatic is such an important album in Yasiin Bey's discography. He also followed that up, I would say about 5 years later, approximately to 2004, when he dropped The New Danger, mainly to mixed reviews. Now, I enjoyed New Danger. I wasn't wowed about it. I thought it got off to a slow start, but then it picked up halfway. Throughout the halfway point, it picked up some momentum and finished with a bang. I thought New Danger was pretty misunderstood by a lot of people who were so blown away and mesmerized by Black on Both Sides. Many people thought they were getting a Black on Both Sides Part 2, only to be left disappointed. But I felt like it was a nice different left turn for Mos Def, music that he wanted to put out, not a commercially charged album, which in some ways Black on Both Sides was a commercial success. But in regards to The New Danger, I just felt like Mos went a direction that a lot of people didn't expect him to go, and I respect him for that. And it aged decently. It didn't age well, but it aged decently. And then after that, he dropped True Magic, which was one of those albums that wasn't very heavily promoted by Mos Def. It was one of those aha moments back during the CD days when you happen to be in the M column and you look down and you see, hold up, Mos Def got a new album? The album cover looks kind of lame, but hey, I'll give it a shot. And I listened to it. It had some highlights. Although it had some highlights, it was not Mos Def's best work. You kind of saw Mos Def getting into more of the acting scene after that, and he took a long hiatus all the way up until 2009, where he drops Ecstatic, and here we are. This project is just colorful. It's a world-renowned journey packed with heart. It's packed with culture. It has sharp insight by Mos Def, and it's not just music. It's not just hip-hop. This album is an experience with great production. Most notably, Madlib contributed to a lot of the production on this one. The Neptunes also helped out with Twilight Speedball, which I think is one of Chad Hugo did some excellent work on the keys on that one. Oh No, another producer, which one of my favorite producers, Georgia Ann Muldrow, also features on the project on the song Roses. Yasiin was able to dig up a nice instrumental from Jay Dilla to collaborate with Talib Kweli of Black Star fame for the song History, which is one of my favorite tracks off the album. But the first thing that grabs you with Ecstatic is its energy. The beats are alive, they pull you in. It has a lot of different influences like Middle Eastern vibes, Afro beats is sprinkled in this one, classic boom bap, and even jazz. And tracks like Casa Bay, which is proof that Yasiin Bey isn't just here to play it safe. He's coming in with the rapid fire flows, and he's experimenting and blending styles with flat out confidence on that track. And if you ever saw the video to Casa Bay, it's one of my favorite videos. It's just him spitting bars after bar with the words coming out and just bouncing around into the screen. It's just an amazing video, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I thought it was a great first single for the album, and then History was the follow-up single to the album as well. Auditorium with Slick Rick, come on, how can you deny the excellent keys on that production by Madlib and Mos Def and Slick Rick? I mean, they just glide effortlessly through that beat. The transitions from verse to verse was hypnotic. He dives into heavy topics, but he keeps things digestible, and it's a thought-provoking track without feeling preachy. Pistola was an amazing track. Pretty Dancer, the list goes on and on. What a set of musical collections by Yasiin Bey here. And Yasiin isn't trying to fit into any mold with this album. He was going through a lot mentally, religiously on this album. He raps about real world problems, real struggles, and also real joy. And he also has songs like Priority, and also a high energy celebration of life and of Marvel times. You feel like you're getting a piece of his soul on every track. The artwork, as you can see right here, is inspired by this novel, one of his favorite novels that was written by Victor LaValle, and the name of that novel was The Ecstatic. It came out in 2002, and also the album's front cover is a steal from Charles Bennett's 1978 film Killer of Sheep, which was produced in red tint. And so we see the depth of Yasiin Bey here and how he really put a lot of effort into this album. Now, this album was also nominated for Best Hip Hop Album for the Grammys. However, it lost to Eminem, and a lot of hip hop heads were not happy about that. Me personally, I thought it was one of the best rap albums of the year in 2009. Like Five Dog said, don't need a statue to prove how nice I am. Well, Yasiin Bey didn't need a statue to prove how nice this album is. If you are looking to stream this album, it is not available on stream. You can probably go to YouTube and listen to the whole album. For whatever reason, I don't have that information in front of me as far as the reasons why Ecstatic got removed off streaming platforms. And I know in the past, Mos Def / Yasiin Bey has been very vocal about his distaste for streaming platforms, and so maybe that contributes to one of the reasons why Ecstatic is not available on streaming platforms. With that being said, this album isn't just for hip-hop heads. It's for anyone who loves honest, passionate music. Static reminds us that good music, it transcends borders, it transcends genres, and it also transcends trends. It's timeless. It aged like fine wine. Going back and listening to this project, it just aged like fine wine. All of the production on here was amazing. It gave me energy, gave me life. And if you haven't revisited this classic in a while, do yourself a favor, press play or go to YouTube, press play, listen to this album. And it's a reminder of how beautiful and powerful hip hop can be when it comes straight from the heart. And that will do it for this first episode of season 8 of classic reviews on coffee and beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. Stay tuned as I will be dropping another classic review, and I will be doing at least 4 episodes of these. So if you can guess which album I'm going to do in my next episode, I'll shout you out on the show. So let me know in the comment section which classic album will I visit for the next episode. But until then, I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. When it comes to coffee, when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.